In 1993, Mario Lemieux shocked the world and came back from cancer treatment. Then he won the scoring title and became a legend. Mario dominated the way we've never seen a hockey player dominate in the history of sports, crushed by illness, but more driven than ever. Mario decided to fight back, and with the help of his doctors and trainers, he beat the only weakness that could stop him. And what happened next was legendary. Mario became the most skilled, most unstoppable, and most clutch player in the NHL, leading Pittsburgh to 2 Stanley Cups. With the vision of Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe's power, the comeback, Mario was a monster, and is widely considered to be the greatest hockey talent ever. So, how good was Mario Lemieux actually? Before we dive into Mario's incredible story, I need to ask for your help. Videos like this take countless hours of research, writing, and editing to bring you the real stories behind these legends. Your support means everything to us. It's what allows us to keep making these deep dives into sports history. So, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. It really does make a huge difference and helps us continue telling these amazing stories. Now, let's get into how Mario Lemieux became the greatest hockey talent the world has ever seen. Actually, Mario was already the most skilled junior player in hockey history as a 17-year-old, something that could only be said about Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe. In 1984, when he got drafted first overall, Lemieux had just scored 133 goals and 149 assists for 282 points in just 70 games with Laval. But even though he had NHL-ready size at 6 feet 4 inches and 200 pounds as an 18-year-old, it still took him time to adjust to the speed of the pros. In his rookie season, Mario scored 43 goals and 57 assists for 100 points, which sounds amazing until you realize he was doing it on the worst team in hockey. The Pittsburgh Penguins were so bad, they hadn't made the playoffs in 6 years and were close to moving to Kansas City. But then Mario got introduced to Bob Johnson, a college coaching legend who became one of the most important people in his career. Johnson completely changed Mario's approach to the game, teaching him how to use his size in traffic and how to slow the game down with his vision. The improvement in Mario's core strength and hockey sense was massive, and his point totals reached new heights. Around 1988, when Lemieux won his first scoring title, it seemed like he was playing a completely different sport than everyone else on the ice. He could score from impossible angles and thread passes through 3 defenders like they weren't even there. However, the Penguins could never manage to build a proper team around Mario. In the 1989 playoffs, despite a monster performance from Lemieux with 19 points in 11 games, Pittsburgh lost to Philadelphia in the first round. In 1990, Mario won another scoring title with 123 assists, the most ever by a center. But the playoffs brought more disappointment with the Pens, losing to the Rangers in the first round again. Lemieux carried Pittsburgh for 6 years, and he took them as far as one player could go, but it was clear that he needed real teammates who could match his talent level. Mario Lemieux's patience is finally paying off. The Penguins are building a championship team around their superstar. By trading for Ron Francis from Hartford and drafting an 18-year-old Czech phenom named Jaromír Jágr, the Penguins finally had the star power Mario needed. Francis was a proven playoff performer who could set up plays and take faceoffs, while Jágr brought a style of hockey that nobody in North America had ever seen before. The young Czech could stick handle through entire teams and had a shot that could break goalie equipment. But even though it looked perfect on paper, building chemistry with these new pieces wasn't easy. Mario was used to doing everything himself. Francis needed time to understand Mario's unique vision, and Jágr was still learning English and adjusting to the smaller North American rinks. The media was calling them the most talented forward line in hockey history, and everyone expected them to dominate right away. We're not just trying to make the playoffs anymore. We're built to win the Stanley Cup this year, and everyone knows it. But hockey doesn't work that way. Even with all that talent, the Penguins struggled early in the playoffs, barely beating New Jersey in the first round, and needing 7 games to get past Washington in the second round. Mario was frustrated because he thought having better teammates would make everything easier, but instead the pressure was higher than ever. The hockey world was watching to see if the most skilled player in the game could finally put it all together with a championship caliber supporting cast. The 1991 playoffs started terribly for Pittsburgh. Mario was dealing with a herniated disc in his back that made it painful just to tie his skates. Against New Jersey, Lemieux could barely bend over to pick up loose pucks, and fans were wondering if his back problems would end their cup hopes before they really started. But then, something clicked in the conference finals against Boston. Mario found a way to play through the pain, and suddenly the chemistry with Francis and Jágr was perfect. Lemieux scored 44 points in 23 playoff games, including 12 goals in the final 2 rounds, as Pittsburgh won their first Stanley Cup. Mario was finally a champion, but the back pain was getting worse every day. The celebration didn't last long. By December 1991, Mario's back problems had become unbearable. He was missing shifts during games because spasms would lock up his entire spine, and some nights he couldn't even get out of bed. The herniated disc was pressing on nerves, causing shooting pain down his legs that made it impossible to skate at full speed. Lemieux tried everything: painkillers, cortisone shots, stretching routines, but nothing worked. I honestly didn't know if I'd ever play hockey again. There were days when I couldn't walk to the mailbox without my back seizing up. For the first time in my life, I thought my career might be over at 26 years old. The surgery was supposed to fix everything, but Mario's recovery was slower than anyone expected. He spent months doing basic rehab exercises that would have been easy for a normal person, but were agony for someone with his back condition. The team's medical staff had to completely rebuild his training routine, focusing on core strength and flexibility instead of power and speed. When Mario finally returned for the 1992-93 season, he was a different player. He couldn't take the big hits anymore, so he learned to avoid contact and use his stick reach to stay away from defenders. The explosive acceleration was gone, but his hockey sense was better than ever because he had to think 2 plays ahead to compensate for his reduced mobility. Lemieux averaged over 2 points per game that season, despite playing through constant pain, proving that his mind for the game was even more dangerous than his physical tools had ever been. On January 12, 1993, Mario Lemieux shocked the hockey world with an announcement that nobody saw coming. At 27 years old, and in the middle of the best season of his career, Mario revealed he had Hodgkin's lymphoma, a form of cancer that required immediate radiation treatment. The hockey community was stunned. Here was the most talented player in the game, finally healthy after his back surgery, and now he was facing a life-threatening illness. Mario had to leave the team immediately to begin radiation treatments that would last 2 months, missing 24 games during what should have been his prime. The treatment was brutal. Mario lost 12 pounds and felt constantly tired and weak. The radiation was burning his throat and chest, making it painful to even drink water. Doctors weren't sure when he could return to hockey, or if he should return at all. But on March 2nd, just 4 hours after his final radiation treatment, Mario did something that still seems impossible today. He came back and played that same night against Philadelphia, scoring a goal and an assist in a 5-4 win. The crowd gave him a 4-minute standing ovation before the game even started. What happened next was the greatest individual performance in NHL history. Despite missing 24 games, Mario went on an absolute tear, scoring 56 points in his final 20 games of the regular season. He was averaging nearly 3 points per game while still dealing with the effects of cancer treatment. Mario won the scoring title with 160 points, beating out Pat LaFontaine, who had played 20 more games. He also won the Hart Trophy as league MVP, becoming the first player ever to win it while missing significant time due to illness. Mario was shooting around 23% and creating scoring chances that defied physics, all while his body was still recovering from radiation. Game 1 against New Jersey, he scored the overtime winner with a backhand shot that went top shelf. Game 4 against the Islanders, down 3-2 with 2 minutes left, Mario scored twice in 63 seconds to force overtime, then won it with another goal. In the conference finals against Boston, Mario had 8 goals in 4 games, including a hat trick in the clinching game where he scored 3 different ways: wrist shot, backhand, and a deflection. Every time Pittsburgh needed a big goal, Mario was there, playing through exhaustion and pain that would have ended most players' seasons. The Stanley Cup Finals against Chicago was Mario's masterpiece. In Game 1, he scored in the final minute to tie the game, then won it in overtime. Game 4 was the clincher, and with the cup on the line, Mario scored 2 goals in the third period to seal Pittsburgh's second championship in 3 years. When the final buzzer sounded, Mario collapsed on the ice from pure exhaustion, then was helped to his feet by his teammates. He had played just 60 games that season due to cancer, but still led the playoffs in scoring with 35 points in 24 games. The image of Mario lifting the Stanley Cup while wearing a bandana to cover his hair loss from treatment became one of the most emotional moments in sports history. After beating cancer, Mario entered a period where he was playing the best hockey anyone had ever seen, but his body was falling apart at the same time. Every morning was a battle just to get out of bed. His back would lock up during games, forcing him to miss shifts while trainers worked on his spine between periods. Mario developed a routine where he'd arrive at the rink 3 hours early for treatment, ice baths, stretching, electrical stimulation, whatever it took to get through 60 minutes of hockey. Some nights he couldn't even put on his own equipment because his hands were too stiff from nerve damage. But when Mario stepped on the ice, none of that mattered. He was putting up numbers that made Wayne Gretzky's records look ordinary. Mario averaged 2.05 points per game for his career, compared to Gretzky's 1.92. Even Bobby Orr, the greatest offensive defenseman ever, never sustained that level of production. Gordie Howe played for 26 seasons and never had a single year as dominant as Mario's average season. What made Mario different wasn't just the points, it was how he got them. While other superstars needed perfect setups, Mario could score from impossible angles and create goals out of nothing when his team needed them most. In 1995-96, Mario had what might be the greatest individual season in hockey history. Despite missing 12 games with more back problems, he scored 161 points in just 70 games, averaging 2.3 points per game. The clutch moments came one after another during these peak years. December 1995 against the Rangers, down 4-3 with 12 seconds left, Mario scored off a face-off to force overtime, then won it 23 seconds into the extra period. January 1996 against Boston. Trailing 2-1 in the third period, Mario scored 3 goals in 7 minutes for a natural hat trick. March 1997 against Philadelphia in the playoffs, Game 7, Mario assisted on the tying goal with 2 minutes left, then scored the series winner in overtime, all while playing on one good leg because his back had seized up in the second period. Every time Pittsburgh absolutely had to have a goal, Mario found a way to deliver, even when his body was screaming at him to quit. By 1997, Mario's body was done fighting. The back problems that started years earlier had spread to his hips and knees, and now he was dealing with chronic fatigue that made it impossible to practice between games. Some nights, Mario would score 2 goals and then spend the next 3 days in bed because his body couldn't recover. The team doctors were telling him that continuing to play could cause permanent nerve damage that would affect him for the rest of his life. At just 31 years old, while still the best player in hockey, Mario made the hardest decision of his life and announced his retirement. "I can't give the fans and my teammates what they deserve anymore. My body won't let me play the way I know how to play." Mario walked away from hockey while he was still averaging over 2 points per game, something that had never happened before in sports history. But instead of disappearing, Mario did something even more shocking. He bought the Pittsburgh Penguins. The team was bankrupt and about to move to Kansas City, so Mario converted the $20 million in unpaid salary they owed him into ownership of the franchise. He'd literally saved Pittsburgh hockey by becoming the boss. For 3.5 years, Mario stayed retired, focusing on running the team and recovering his health, but in December 2000, at age 35, he shocked the world again by making a comeback. Mario's first game back was against Toronto, and he looked like he had never left. 2 goals and an assist in a 5-0 win, skating circles around players who were 10 years younger. Over his comeback season, Mario averaged 1.8 points per game, despite being retired for nearly 4 years. He was still faster and smarter than everyone else on the ice, proving that pure talent doesn't just disappear. Mario played 3 more seasons after his comeback, making the playoffs each year and showing flashes of his old dominance. But the back problems never went away, and by 2006, Mario knew it was really time to hang up his skates for good. This time, he retired on his own terms as team owner and captain, having proved that even a broken down version of Mario Lemieux was still better than almost everyone else in the NHL. After retiring, Mario became the team owner and saved Pittsburgh hockey. That later period marked Mario as a successful businessman who brought 2 more Stanley Cups to Pittsburgh as an owner. However, it was those playing years where Mario was at his absolute peak. His skill and hockey sense reached a level that hadn't been reached by anybody else before or since, as we have never seen a 6'4" center move that smoothly, score that easily, and create plays like that for a full career while fighting cancer and back problems. It was like somebody combined Wayne Gretzky's vision, Gordie Howe's power, Bobby Orr's skating, Maurice Richards' clutch gene, and Mario's own unique style in one player. If Mario had stayed healthy his whole career, he would have shattered every NHL record, and hockey would look completely different today. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, we have another one for you right here. If you made it this far, you're clearly a real hockey fan who appreciates greatness. This video took weeks of research and editing to put together, and your support is what makes it all possible. If you enjoyed learning about Mario's incredible journey, please smash that like button. It honestly means the world to us and helps more people discover these amazing stories. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into sports legends. We've got so many more incredible stories coming your way. What athlete should be covered next? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.